I'm freezing to death, and no one believes me. Nosleep. It started subtle. A chill I couldn't shake, even bundled under layers. October in upstate New York is crisp, sure, but I've lived here my whole life. I know the difference between a normal autumn breeze and whatever this was. I'm Elias Thorne, 32, and I work from home as a freelance architect. Solitude suits me. My farmhouse, a renovated 1880s job on the outskirts of Hemlock, is my sanctuary, or it was. Now, it feels like a meat locker. The first few days I cranked up the thermostat, 78 degrees, and I was still shivering. Sarah, my sister, would have a field day. She always said I ran the place too cold. Now I'd be happy for her to be right. I called Dr. Reed. Probably just a virus, Elias, she said, her voice a little too cheerful. Get some rest, drink plenty of fluids. If it persists, come back in a week. A week. Each day was worse. It wasn't just the cold, it was an internal freeze, like my bones were filled with ice. My teeth chattered uncontrollably and my muscles ached with the tension of constant shivering. I started wearing thermal underwear, 2 pairs of socks, a hat, and gloves, even inside. Work ground to a halt. My designs blurred through watery eyes. I couldn't concentrate, the cold a constant, gnawing distraction. Sleep was impossible. I'd lie awake, teeth clenched, body shaking, the digital numbers on my alarm clock mocking me with their normal, comforting glow. A week later, I was back in Dr. Reed's office, looking like a character from a bad survival movie. I ran some blood work, Elias. Everything's normal. No signs of infection, thyroid's fine. Honestly, you seem perfectly healthy. Healthy. I croaked, my voice hoarse. I feel like I'm dying of hypothermia, she sighed. Sometimes stress can manifest in physical symptoms. Are you under any unusual pressure lately? Pressure. I'm freezing to death, isn't that enough pressure? I regretted the outburst immediately. Dr. Reed was a good doctor, but she was clearly at a loss. I can prescribe something for anxiety, she offered tentatively. Anxiety pills. That's what it had come to. I took the prescription, but I didn't fill it. I spent the next few days researching rare medical conditions online, a rabbit hole of terrifying possibilities. Hypothalamus dysfunction, cold urticaria, even some obscure autoimmune disorders I couldn't pronounce. None of them quite fit. Sarah came to visit that weekend. She lives in Albany, a couple of hours away, and we don't see each other as often as we should. Our relationship is complicated. There was an incident years ago involving a frozen lake and a dare that went wrong. I don't like to think about it. She took one look at me and frowned. Elias, you look awful. What's going on? I explained everything, the relentless cold, the doctor's visit, the endless research. She listened patiently, but I could see the doubt in her eyes. Maybe you should see a therapist, she said gently. You've been isolating yourself since the accident. Maybe this is your body's way of telling you something. The accident. There it was, the elephant in the room. It's not in my head, Sarah. I'm telling you, I'm freezing. She wrapped her arms around me. I believe you feel cold, Elias, but maybe it's not what you think it is. Her hug did nothing to warm me. That night I heard it for the first time. A voice whispering my name in the static of the television. I hadn't even turned it on. Elias, it rasped, low and chilling. You know what this is. You know where it comes from. I ripped the power cord from the wall. The voice was gone, but the cold remained, a constant companion. Then the news started. 3 people in Hemlock, dead, all found in their homes, suffering from severe hypothermia. Their body temperatures were normal at the time of death, according to the reports. Just like me, panic set in. I called Dr. Reed, but she was unavailable. I left a frantic message. I needed help, and I needed it now. Detective Olson arrived the next morning. He was a tall, weary man with a permanent frown etched on his face. Mr. Thorne, he said, his voice flat. We understand you knew one of the deceased, Mrs. Henderson. You live next door, is that correct? Yes, but I didn't. I had nothing to do with it, I stammered, my teeth chattering. You've been experiencing similar symptoms, haven't you? Extreme cold, despite no external cause. I hesitated. Yes, but we're just trying to understand what's going on, Mr. Thorne. Anything you can tell us would be helpful. I told him everything about the cold, the doctors, the voice. He listened without interrupting, his expression unreadable. And you believe this voice is connected to the deaths? I don't know what to believe anymore, I said, my voice cracking. But something is happening here, something terrible. He left without saying much, just a promise to keep me informed. I didn't trust him. I didn't trust anyone. The voice got louder. It started whispering in my ear even when there was no static, no electronic device nearby. It told me where to go, what to look for. The woods, Elias, it hissed. Near the old Blackwood property. That's where it started. That's where you'll find the answer. The Blackwood property. Abandoned for decades, swallowed by the forest. A place people avoided. I knew I shouldn't go. But the cold was unbearable and the voice was relentless. I had to know. I drove to the edge of the Blackwood property, the tires of my truck crunching on the frozen ground. The woods were dark and silent, the trees skeletal against the gray sky. Following the voice's instructions, I hiked for what felt like hours, the cold intensifying with every step. Finally, I reached a clearing. In the center, a patch of ground that looked disturbed, the earth a darker, richer color than the surrounding soil. I started digging, my hands numb with cold. The ground was frozen solid, but I clawed at it, driven by desperation. After what felt like an eternity, I hit something hard. It was a wooden box, crudely made and bound with iron. The wood was rotten, but the iron was still strong. I struggled to pry it open, my fingers aching. Inside, nestled in layers of decaying cloth, was a stone. Not just any stone. This was an obsidian stone, a deep black color, pulsating with a faint inner light. As I touched it, the cold intensified, a wave of pure, agonizing frost that ripped through my body. The voice roared in my head. You found it, Elias, you're connected to it, you were always connected. I stumbled backward, dropping the stone. The cold was so intense I could barely breathe. I looked down at my hands and realized that they were turning blue. The deaths, the cold, it was all connected to this thing, this stone. And somehow I was part of it. Detective Olson found me the next morning, lying in the snow, half conscious. He took me to the hospital where they ran more tests, found nothing. They said I was suffering from severe exposure despite my normal body temperature. They wanted to commit me, but Sarah intervened. She convinced them to let her take me home, promising to keep a close eye on me. Back at the farmhouse, the cold was worse than ever. I couldn't escape it. It was inside me, consuming me. The voice was constant now, a relentless tormentor. It told me that I was chosen, that I was the vessel. I knew I had to get rid of the stone, but where, how? The voice wouldn't let me think straight. I tried to burn it, but it wouldn't burn. I tried to smash it, but it wouldn't break. I tried to bury it, but the cold only intensified. I was trapped, a prisoner of the cold, a host to something ancient and malevolent. Sarah came to visit again. She looked worried, her eyes filled with pity. Elias, she said, her voice trembling. I don't know what's happening to you, but I'm scared. I wanted to tell her the truth about the stone, about the voice, but I couldn't. I knew she wouldn't believe me. I'm okay, Sarah, I lied. Just a little tired. She didn't believe me, but she didn't press. She just hugged me tight and then she left. That night the voice told me what I had to do. You can't get rid of the stone, Elias, it whispered, but you can share it. You can spread the cold. I knew what it meant. I had to pass the stone to someone else, to inflict this torment on another human being. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it, but the cold was unbearable and the voice was relentless. It chipped away at my resistance, weakening my resolve. Days turned into weeks. I barely ate, barely slept. The cold consumed me, body and soul. Then one night I saw her, Mrs. Henderson, standing outside my window, her eyes glowing with an unnatural light. The voice chuckled. She's ready, Elias, she's been waiting. I opened the door. I'm not sure what happened after that. My memory is hazy, filled with fragmented images and whispers. I remember the cold, the darkness, and the feeling of something shifting, something transferring. I woke up the next morning, lying on the floor, the stone gone. The cold was still there, but it was different now. It was lighter, as if a part of it had been lifted off me. A news report flashed on the television. Another death, Mrs. Henderson, found in her home, suffering from severe hypothermia. Her body temperature was normal at the time of death. Detective Olson arrived later that day. He didn't say anything, but his eyes told me everything. He knew. He took me into custody. I didn't resist. I didn't care anymore. I'm writing this from my cell. The cold is still here, but it's manageable. I can almost think clearly again. I don't know what will happen to me. I don't know what will happen to Hemlock, but I know one thing. The cold is spreading. It's out there waiting, and it will never truly be gone. I am free and they are not. Update: it's been weeks. The trial's over. They couldn't prove anything, no evidence linking me directly to Henderson's death. The official cause was ruled unexplained hypothermia. They let me go. People avoid me in town. I can feel their fear, their suspicion, but the cold, it's receding, a dull ache, nothing more. I started working again slowly. The farmhouse feels less like a tomb now, almost normal, but the dreams, they're getting worse. Dreams of black ice, of whispering voices, of eyes glowing in the dark. I went back to the Blackwood property. The clearing is still there, the disturbed earth still visible. I dug again, searching for something, anything. I found nothing, just cold, hard earth. Then I saw them, construction crews, heavy machinery. They were clearing the land, preparing to build something. A new development, according to the foreman. He said the town council approved it months ago. I asked him what they were building. He shrugged. Some kind of community center, I think. They said there was a good energy spot on the land, a good energy spot. The foreman pointed to a spot near where I found the stone. They were digging deep. I could feel the cold radiating from the earth. I tried to warn him, to tell him about the stone, about the cold, but he just laughed. "Don't worry, pal," he said. "We're used to the cold up here. They're digging now and they won't stop. They have no idea, and I am alone." I walked away. The cold, a familiar ache in my bones. Back in the farmhouse, the voice returned. Faint, but distinct. "It begins again," it whispered, "and I'm cold again. The stone is calling, and I'm running out of space."